Welcome to the Hard Truth Podcast. This is Jeremy Fouts. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the power in numbers. Obviously, the power in numbers can make a difference in your life. Today, we are going to be talking about, how fitness, personal development, how everything, your disciplines can definitely be maximized by the power in numbers. And today, we are honored to have a special guest, Bobby Capobianco. And hope I did not butcher that name, Bobby. The way it's spelled, it's definitely more difficult to pronounce, but I think I did a pretty good job. Bobby is out of Denver, Colorado. Bobby is a D1 college basketball, married with two kids now. He's a community builder and also a co-founder of Full Circle Events. We're going to be talking about what that does here in a few minutes. But really, he is a master of understanding how to take care of discipline, daily disciplines. And you guys that listen to my podcast, we drop the truth over and over. That is very powerful in your daily disciplines in order to have success in life. And then also personal development and doing things in a group setting. So today's episode, The Power of Numbers. Bobby, it's an honor and privilege to have you on all the way from Denver, Colorado today. Let's get started by sharing with the audience, Bobby, a little bit more background about who you are. I know I've enjoyed visiting with you on the phone as we've been beginning to develop our friendship here. And as always, for you audience that's listening, I don't just give anybody an invite. It's somebody that believes in the core values that I believe in, and also as someone from a man's perspective that delivers the truth. And so, Bobby, it's an honor to have you on today. Give us a little bit more background. I know you played D1 college basketball, married with two kids, building a phenomenal brand. Share with the audience a little bit more information on your background.
Let's go.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, first and foremost, for having me. I appreciate just getting the opportunity to be here to kick around some topics that hopefully people get a lot of value out of, to talk about things straight. I really appreciate that. You nailed my last name. It's long, but I'm lucky it's totally phonetic. So yeah, no, nailed that. A little bit of background on me. Both of my parents played high level college athletics. Both of them are Vanderbilt Commodores. My dad was the quarterback on the football team. My mom won a national championship playing basketball. So I knew from an early age that I had a lot to live up to, but really great people to coach me and teach me along the way. Growing up, my dad is in the insurance business. We moved around a lot. Seemed about every 2 years we would move somewhere new. So my sister and I really quickly learned what it meant to walk into a new place, a new school, a new group of people that you didn't know, and really how to, instead of trying to figure out how do I make friends, we really quickly learned just how do I add value to this situation? How do I add value to the people that are here? And that will naturally give me my sort of pecking order and where I fit in this. And so learned that from an early age, was really highly recruited for basketball. Obviously hard to tell over a computer, but I'm 6'9", 275 pounds. I'm a big guy. And so knew from an early age that was something that I was going to do. I got my first full scholarship offer at the end of 6th grade. So knew that life was going that direction for me relatively quickly. Ended up committing my sophomore year of high school to Indiana University, and loved my time there. Loved being a Hoosier. Loved getting to play in front of the Indiana faithful. Had two just really, really special years there, and sort of realized just through what I was looking to get out of college basketball and sort of where I was that I needed a change just in personnel. And I made the switch, transferred up to Valparaiso University, which is in Northwest Indiana. Got to play for Bryce Drew, who anybody who's a basketball fan may remember Bryce from the miracle shot in the NCAA tournament with his dad coaching him. So got really great coaching. Had a lot of really amazing men in my life there. Met my wife in the training room at college, playing basketball. Met her and knew I wanted some big athletic babies down the line, and so married my wife Elizabeth. About a year, we lived in Valparaiso for about a year after college, and got the opportunity to work in my family's business, which my uncle owned a big general contracting company out in Denver, Colorado. At the time, I had gotten kind of a random job doing sales for a construction company in the town that I lived in. Really was like in sales, didn't know a ton about construction, but thought, you know what, I'll take any excuse to move to Colorado. So my wife and I picked up and came out here. So I've been in Denver for 9 years, 9 years right now. Have loved sort of every bit of it. Gone through so many rides of building big companies, going through COVID and turning those things down, and then starting some new enterprises, getting introduced to a new group of people. But yeah, that's sort of the overall ride. And I find myself now 33 years young. I've got two young boys, one that's 5 and one that's 6 months old. And so I'm in full swing early dad years, and have decided the best thing to do since I'm not busy enough is start a business. And so yeah, we're rolling right now.
Awesome, Bobby. I know when I was talking to you in a few minutes or the other day, you told me, and obviously we'll get into the business that you're pursuing now that you're a co-founder with here in a few minutes. But I know, and it has to do with fitness. The audience is going to be excited to hear about this. But
Yep.
I know you said you really, kind of went through a phase after sports. And the reason that this story really resonates with me and a lot of my audience is a lot of times we are athletic minded people, and a lot of times after sports we think, oh, we're just going to sit on the couch, we're done with that phase in our life. And I know you kind of went through a little bit of that,
Yeah.
but you picked it up 5 years ago, and now that's moved you into this business. Share with us a little bit about maybe what went on, what really made the light come on that you really need to take better care of your fitness.
Yeah, totally. My wife and I really gave it hell post college, not to exercise, not to give any thought to fitness or well being. We really dedicated some strong years to pizza and beer and sitting on the couch and having a good time. And I think as funny as that sounds, we needed that time. We needed that sort of letdown from finishing college sports. We both had transferred and had a 5th year, so we walked out of college at 23 years old, and that, for me, for the better part of the 18 years before that, had been dedicating every waking minute and second of my life to basketball. And so we needed a little bit of that time to kind of down regulate and sort of find ourselves. And so coming out to Colorado was a great bit of juice to start changing that. Again, where we live, we spend a ton of days up riding our snowboards in the summer. We're on our mountain bikes. We're out on the trails. We're hiking. We've got a bunch of 14,000 foot peaks here in Colorado that people love to hike, and we do a lot of those. And so we started seeing it coming back around. But then about 5 years ago, my older son, his name is Huck. When Huck was getting ready to be born, I sort of had this epiphany of, I've been flirting with exercise. I've been flirting with my health. I need to take this seriously. And it was fun because in a way it was 100% my own, but in a way it had everything to do with him. Was that as a dad, I didn't want to have to say no when he said, "Hey Dad, can we go backpacking for 3 days? Can we do a yurt trip where we hike back on our snowboards? Can we ride the whole enchilada in Utah on our mountain bikes?" I didn't want to have to say no because of a physical limitation or something like I felt that I wasn't going to hold up my end of the bargain for. So for me, it came from really wanting to. I talk about a lot, just storing yeses, putting yeses in my pocket for down the road of when he comes up with something crazy. And now that I have another boy, just I know that we're going to want to really get after it and go for some things. And I want to have some yeses stored away for when those times came. So it really started for me in a big change with learning about how I ate, cooking all of my own food. That was kind of step one. Exercise kind of quickly followed. I had everybody, I think, has heard horror stories of CrossFit, and it's just a bunch of big hairy dudes in there grunting and throwing weights until they hurt themselves. And I got really lucky, and I found a guy that I became good friends with who owned a CrossFit gym really close to my house. It was a total God thing that just walked into my life when it did. And so I got in the gym, and I really learned a lot about my body, and I learned a lot about musculature that I needed to. And I had spent my whole life playing really high level basketball and had a lot of really great trainers and coaches and those things, but I'd had lower back problems that I'd held on to for my whole life. And then all of a sudden this exercise, this core stability, all of these things really changed the way I felt. And I've gone 5 years without any of those issues kind of flaring back up. It was really cool. I started to sort of own it myself. And what was the most interesting was that pursuit of athletic kind of endeavors in my life really quickly expanded into business in a way that I wasn't anticipating. And so it's been a really fun journey these last 5 years, kind of wading through getting back into fitness, what it means for myself. I've done some crazy competitions. I've competed in things. I ran a marathon with a buddy of mine on 3 weeks prep because we got the invite to and wanted to be able to say yes. Did a lot of things and found that my work benefited from it, my marriage benefited from it, that being a dad, doing all those things. So yeah, it was a really big change that I went through, and something that I'm super grateful for, sort of in all parts of my life now.
Yeah, it's funny, Bobby, you said that because like a lot of men and especially men, well, and women too, they look at, these models on Instagram, the guys with their shirt off, the girls in their sports bra and their tights and different things, and they look at those bodies and almost think, well, man, that can never be me, or they kind of think, well, I know I don't look that bad, but the real benefit is what you said, is it's the quality of life that you're able to do the things that you want to do with your kids, being
Yeah.
able to do. And I love the point that, and this is something I've taught for years, but I really, work with my clients that I work with is, look, man, it's not only going to affect the way you look, it's going to affect all areas of your life. It's going to affect your spiritual, your financial, your relationships, all of those things. And
Yeah.
that's something that people really don't understand. I'm glad you brought some attention to that. I know you definitely understand discipline playing D1 ball. I know you understand personal development, but you're also big into a group setting and also the power of numbers. You was telling me about your company just got through sponsoring an event,
Yeah.
like I think a 100-mile run in Leadville, Colorado. Tell us a little bit more about your business that you have
Yeah.
started, and well, actually a co-founder, and tell us a little bit about that, how that come about, and how cool it is to see all these people coming to the same place with the same mindset and being able to watch them transform their life and push themselves too. I think that's something that, easy coming out of basketball. I was an athlete as well. You think, well, I've pushed myself in life, but really and truly, you never stop pushing yourself, or you're going to start dying instead of growing. And so,
Yeah.
share with us a little bit about your events company and how that come into being a business and what you do for the others.
Yeah, totally. So I am one of the co-founders with my business partner Sean Greenspan in Full Circle Social Club. I think like all great businesses and pursuits in life, more often than not, they find you versus you finding them. I was over at a good friend of mine's house here in Denver. We have a different way of socializing than a lot of people, which includes, hey, come over and we'll hop in the sauna, we'll do a cold plunge, we'll get in the river, we'll do something like that. That's a lot of the ways that my friends hang out. And I was in one of my buddy's saunas. In there with a bunch of really high level endurance athletes. And my now business partner, Sean, was across the sauna, and somebody asked a hilarious thing about, like, oh, what did your heart rate do or something? And he had just done a 100-mile run. And he said, I have no idea. And they said, what do you mean you have no idea? He goes, oh, when I'm out doing those runs, I don't wear a watch. I don't have headphones in. I don't even have my phone. I'm just out in the woods try to see where I can push myself, hallucinating, hoping that I can find the finish line. And I just remember hearing him say that, thinking like, man, that's my kind of person. Like I like somebody who's just willing to like throw it all to the wind and figure out what you're capable of, way down at the bottom of an experience like that. And so I started working with Sean. We have a couple of different entities that we do, but started in the marketing field, doing a lot of social media growth, email list growth, ambassador programs, those kind of things with health and wellness companies. We also have a talent agency where um, we have influencers, we have athletes, we have content creators that we help structure deals with, kind of like a sports agent would with those health and wellness companies. But knowing all of those health and wellness companies, we saw a need arise. And as somebody who has a company in that thing, I know you know this, we've talked about this, but it's incredibly difficult to get authentic, genuine content where people know what they're talking about. They've had a real experience and you're capturing that moment. And so we came up with this idea of, hey, what if we found something that lived in the dead center of both your physical and health pursuits, but also your social pursuits? And typically, if you're anywhere in life, probably between the age of early 20s to mid to late 50s, you know that to chase social, you oftentimes have to give up some pursuits in your health. Eat something you don't want to eat, drink something you don't want to drink, be out too late, but you're willing to sacrifice that to fill your social cup, and vice versa. If you're really sticking to your plan and you got a long run on Saturday, you've got an early class you got to hit, you got a big lift day ahead of you, you're going to go to sleep and you're going to forego that social element to prioritize your health. And so we figured, why all of our friends like doing this, all of the people we like being with are in this place. Why could we not create something that at the end of the day filled both cups? And so that's where Full Circle was born. We currently activate in 4 cities around the country. We're in Denver, Austin, Texas, New York City, and Southern California. We This year will host, I want to say, probably close to 6,000 people will have hosted this year. By the end of the year, we'll probably have done about 80 or 90 events total, which is great. And we've got a really unique way that we do that. But really what we're offering to people is, hey, come be a part of this community. Come see what this looks like when we approach life as a herd of people that have the same sort of moral ground, the same sort of concept of what it means to be vibrant and to be healthy and to talk about real things. And so we've set these events up where you're definitely going to get some mental. We'll do some breath work. People, I think, so oftentimes don't realize that your breath is the single greatest tool that you own to regulate your entire body. And most people are just sitting there mouth wide open, just huffing and puffing, trying to hang on. And I think that we try to approach this mental side. You'll definitely get physical. You get a group workout. You get a little bit of intensity, a little bit of encouragement, which is always really fun. And then we finalize with social time and recovery. So we'll get you out of your comfort zone. We'll put you in the sauna at 210 degrees and let you roast in there for a little bit. You come out, we've got the cold plunge ready. We're going to get you under that ice water and let your body start to realize, like, man, I'm capable of so much more than I thought. But really putting people in that place allows them to really deepen their social connections. And I think one thing that we're really high on is they talk about the blue zones around the world where people live to be 100 years old. We're committed to trying to bring the blue zones back to the United States. And the through line through all of those things is the richness of their social connections. And so for us, we know that the richness of your social connections is the single largest impactor when it comes towards longevity and towards a life full of health and vitality. And so for us, we're blending the two, and really we're sort of a nationwide country club, call it. You've got a place where you show up, all your favorite people are going to be there, the music's going to be high, you're going to get lots of hugs, lots of high fives. It's an insanely fun and welcoming group of people, and yeah, we're building into it every day.
Yeah, I mean, we've all heard that, you are who your friends are and who you're
Yep.
around and who you're spending time with. And Bobby, I tell you, not only, like I told you, Core V, my company is going to be doing, partnership with you, but I also want to be at those events. I know I put on events most of my life in doing business, and getting like-minded people together, pushing themselves. I cannot wait to be a part of those events as well. And I know you talked about discipline and personal development, from building this business to doing everything that you've done with D1 basketball, everything you've done in life. How would you put as a priority of your daily disciplines in order to obtain your daily goals?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I believe in and I hold really strongly to is that discipline equals freedom. When you're in that place where you are disciplined towards the things that you want to do, it gives you so much freedom in your life. And I'm funny. I'm totally not one of those people that has a strict morning routine who does all of these specific things throughout the day. For me, I think about it more of like an animal chasing its prey to eat. For me, every day is around pursuit. And there are days where I'm going to close the gap on that thing that I'm pursuing, and there are also days where I know that that gap's going to widen a little bit, and both are okay because neither play a role in my level of commitment to the pursuit of those things. And for me, I'm one of those people that I will tell you straight up, if I have to give up my workout for the day, if I have to punt on that because family time is first, because my wife needs something, because my kids have things that require it, I do that happily. That's something that, look, we have this funny little 24-hour clock that we think you have to do certain things in that little time frame all the time. But for me, it's a constant pursuit of, you know what, if I can't do it that day, can I eat foods that I know will make my body feel really well? Can I drink a lot of water? Can I be out in the sun? Can I move around? Can we simply, hey, let's load the boys up and go for a walk? For me, it's those things of every day there's a commitment to the pursuit of joy, the pursuit of family, the pursuit of excellence in both business and my fitness life. So for me, it's those things of like, I feel like every day we have, hundreds of decisions we have to make. And I'm committed to trying to make as many of those have a positive outcome in my life as possible. And so for me, the discipline comes from not making those decisions. The discipline comes from the awareness that I have this opportunity in every moment in this conversation with you and I. It's not just how do I answer these questions well? How do I make my business look good? But it's also how do I pour into somebody else who I'm building a friendship with? How do I hope that somebody who's listening to this gets something out of it? How do I stay so in my own feet where I am all the time that I have the awareness to try to make those decisions? Because in my life, that's the pursuit, that's the chase, and who knows how long it'll be before I track down that prey and I finally sink my teeth in and get it. And I'm okay with that because the pursuit is what I enjoy every day.
I love it, man. The commitment to pursuing greatness. That's what I talk to my boys about all the time, Bobby. I'm glad you mentioned that. And, for example, this past Sunday, I didn't get a workout in. I usually work out 6 days a week, but Sunday I wanted to get a workout in. My one son had 4 friends over for a birthday, and I knew I needed to cook breakfast. Then my older son wanted to work at the baseball field. So I just chose to do a fasting day, and
Yep,
and I mean it's all about, your choices and knowing that if I'm not going to get that workout in, what is something else good that I can do for my body and my mind today, even if
totally.
I can't go to the gym. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I know with your business, you have saw the power in numbers and doing things in a group setting. Why do you think it's so powerful at these events for people to be a part of that and to get involved in a community like what you're building and see the power? I mean, what is some of the benefits? Like if you're trying to talk to me, I'm an individual and I'm 48 and I'm like, well, Bobby, I don't know if I need to come to those events. I've got my own workout program. I've got my own, macros that I'm following. What would you say to me to basically not call me crazy, but in the way to say, hey, man, you don't understand the power of these events?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think I'd start off by saying, hey, that's fantastic. All the products we've brought will lean themselves towards your goals for your macros. We really try to be really particular with what those things are. And hey, look, I understand everybody's got their own workout routine. Today is going to be a good sweat, maybe not crazy challenging, and give you some room to go out and get after it later in the day. But I think the reality is that so many people, the thing that I think we see is that wherever you are in life, it is so easy. We normally, with the way work culture is, we sit behind computer screens, we host meetings, we're alone, we're isolated a lot of times, and it's so easy to think that these things that I'm currently struggling with, that I'm dealing with, whether that be my financial output in my business, my relationship lack thereof, trying to be a good boyfriend, husband, find somebody, we're dealing with that. Whether it's my friends just are doing things that I don't really agree with, and I don't know how to voice those types of concerns. I'm worried about politics and aliens and all these things that you hear and see all over the news all the time. I think everybody gets so isolated, feeling like I'm dealing with these things. And I think for us, the power of these events has nothing to do with the breath work or the workout or the recovery. What it really has to do with is giving the power back to the people to say, hey, we're all in a room. We're all thinking about the same things. We're all sitting in the similar positions. And together, when we come and we shed those preconceived notions of how I should approach this, how I should think about friendship, how I should do all those things, when we really shed that, what we realize is we're all thinking about the same things. We're all dealing with it. And to sort of take a collective breath out and realize, like, hold on, I'm holding the cards to my own life, and there are all of these people that want to help me. At the beginning of every event, when I get a chance to get up and talk to people, so often I'll say, okay, how many of you out there own or run a business? And hands come up. I'll go, great. How many of you might be in between jobs or really looking for your next big break? Probably equally as many hands go up. How many of you are in a long-term marriage? Hands go up. How many of you are looking for love and are single and are working through that thing? What we realize is that as you see these hands go up as we talk through these topics, you're in a group that is a variety of age and fitness level and race and political thoughts and all these things. But this whole group is looking to better themselves. And so that real power in numbers is one of those things where it's amazing to be able to simply look around, see, wow, I have all of these people at my fingertips that I can connect with, that I can help to use. And the thing we talk about is, like, community is not simply a group of people gathering. It's what happens after that. And so we are constantly telling everybody, like, you coming to this space was the first best decision that you could have made today. But the second best decision is using this space for what it's built for. And we tell people, lead with value in all of those things. If you see somebody and you notice it may be their first time, you're in a big group of friends, go pull that person in, put them on your team, get to know them a little bit. If it's something where you've got something on your heart, bring that up and find somebody to talk to about it. Because the power is that in a group that large, you're going to get opinions. And I think this scares a lot of people, but you're going to get opinions that are different than what your mom and dad say, what your boyfriend or girlfriend says, what your best friend from high school says. You're going to get a wider purview of the world and how we experience it. And so for us, we just have found that people are desperate for groups of people that push them forward. And the coolest thing, I know you mentioned I know you sort of mentioned the quote of, like, there's power in numbers, that there's all these pieces. For us, it's the rising tide lifts all ships. If we're all pushing towards this thing, we're all bringing our energy, we're all doing that rising tide lifts all of us. And that to me is the thing that this world, Instagram, the doom scrolling, you mentioned looking at everybody with those unattainable bodies and those physiques that, they may not have eaten for 6 days before they posted that one picture. it's one of those things where like when you come in real life and you see a bunch of people putting the work in and sweating next to each other and just really suffering together and doing it with just abounding joy, you get so swept up in that current of what's happening that you can't help but add to the pot. And that's really where the magic happens.
Yeah, I'm actually studying for a podcast, Bobby, right now, and I'm going to do it here in probably about 2 or 3 weeks, talking about, the gatherers and the hunters back 200 years ago, and how and one of the parts that I'm studying is what they look forward to more than anything was not just killing the prey and eating the prey; it was that community time at evening time of talking
Yeah.
about it and all of that. And we've technology today. I'm talking to my boys often about technology fasting, not just food fasting, how to just put the phone down for a little bit. And so, this community that you are building, not only am I going to be at the next event myself, but I'm going to be sending products and sponsoring as well. I cannot wait to be there because I can feel the power as you describe it right now of me putting business aside, everything aside, and saying, me, I need this community of people to get my
Yep.
mind locked in, to push myself, to make the connections, not for gain for what it can do for me, but maybe that I can bring value to someone else there. And so I will be at the next event. I cannot wait to also help sponsor the next event with some core beef products. And tell us where the audience, where they can find out more about the events, where they can join us, and then also how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, totally. I think the single best way is to follow Full Circle on Instagram. That handle is at full.circle.events. We're on there. You can find me plastered all over there. My Instagram is Big Bob Capo, and you'll see my face all over it. I'm kind of the mouthpiece of the situation. But yeah, I mean, look, if you're in any of those cities, please tap in and get involved. If you're somebody who you're sitting and you're listening to this in Oklahoma City, you're in Pittsburgh, you're in Sacramento, and you're saying, dang, this city is so ripe and needs community in this way, reach out to me, hit me a note. We're looking to expand, not for the sake of expansion. We're looking to expand for the sake of impact. And I think we want to reach the people that need this the most, that need a place. In psychology, they talk a lot about the third place. You have your home, you have work, and then everyone chooses their third place. It's where they choose to go. It's where they go to find a certain thing for them. I think Full Circle is a really special third place for a lot of people. It's a place where you can come, where you can feel safe, where you can feel uplifted. And like you said, the biggest thing is you feel like you can come and make an impact on somebody else. Jeremy, you mentioned like what would you say to somebody like me? The real thing that I would say to somebody like you is, hey man, you've had an amazing business career. You're leading and heading up an amazing family of people. I need you to be there to pour into somebody else's life, because there's a confused 24-year-old guy who is here and he wants to sweat and take his shirt off and be seen. But what he doesn't know is he really needs a hug, and he needs a man to look him in the eyes and tell him, hey, man, I love you and I'm here and I'd love to talk about what you're going through and where you're at in your life and how I can help you in your business and what I can teach you. And the reality is, when everybody pours into that, just the same way you can pour into that individual, I guarantee you he's got something that you can go, dang, I lost that spark from when I was in my early 20s, and I need to be thinking about that thing and juicing my own life. So yeah, that's what makes Full Circle really special. Again, we're in Denver, Austin, New York, Southern California. If you're in any of those places, follow us, come experience it for yourself. The juice is worth the squeeze, man. It's a feeling that is hard to define, but it's hard to not come back to once you've tasted it.
Big Bobby Capo, you got me fired up, man. I'm excited to be at the next event. I don't know if I'm going to be
Yeah,
doing a 100-mile run, but maybe you'll get me doing
yeah,
a half marathon or a full marathon or something like that. It's a privilege, man, having you on. What you're doing, we live in a society, Bobby, that is reaching.
yeah,
It's reaching for what do I do in life? How do I become better? How do I where do I fit in here or there? And man, that's why happy hour is so full, right?
Yep.
That's why all the movie places are so full. People are searching. And man, what you are providing here at full.circle.events on Instagram, reach out, be a part of that community. My hat is off, not only what you're doing from a business side, but the why you're doing it. You're doing it to make an impact. That's been my whole life of what I've done for 48 years. I've had the ability to make money in a lot of different other ways, and I keep choosing fitness, nutrition, all these personal development, all these different areas is because I want to be known as someone that made an impact in someone's life. I tell my boys over and over that at my funeral, the most important thing is the people coming up to them and saying, your dad made a difference in my life. So you are making a difference in a lot of people's lives. Big Bobby Capo, 6'9", 275 pounds of you. Thank you
Yep.
for being on, man. Just you will be a guest again, and I cannot wait to be at your next event. Well, thank you guys for joining the Hard Truth Podcast. Share this with a friend or family member. I know you know someone that is looking to be a part of a community at Full Circle, and we have got that community and the right guy to be able to make you welcome in that community. Share this with a friend or a family member. Thank you. Don't forget to leave a review. God bless. Thank you for joining the Hard Truth Podcast.